All right, I've got my power scarf, I've got my notebook. Let's investigate the new thriller Cold Copy. Hey everyone, it's David Stark from Watcher Pass, and I'm here to talk to you about Cold Copy, which is coming to theaters and digital on January 26, 2024. It is a new thriller that is written, directed, and produced by Roxine Helberg, and it stars Tracee Ellis Ross, Belle Powley, and Jacob Tremblay. My hot take is I think you should watch it. I actually really enjoyed it. It's got a nice, simple setup and really focuses on the characters and this phenomenal cast. It has some twists, it has some turns, it has some pretty tense moments, and overall, I just kind of enjoyed it. It's a really well-made thriller. It has a kind of an investigative angle to it, and it looks at how far someone will go to succeed. So I definitely think you should check it out when it comes to theaters or digital. The weather is cold. This is a good, like, dark, cold thriller, so definitely check it out. So all that being said, I'm going to tell you a little about the film, a few things I liked, a few things I didn't like, and then really quickly go into the ending, very, very briefly. So if you don't want to know what happens in the movie, I would turn it off when I get there. Before that, though, I'll keep it vague. I'll keep it spoiler-free, and I'll let you know when I get to those spoilers. So in Cold Copy, you have two main characters. You've got Diane, played by Tracee Ellis Ross, who is this like media magnet, this news interview star. She is known for her hard-hitting interviews, her like objective journalism, her really tough attitude. She has kind of made it in the world of journalism, and she is teaching a journalism class that Mia, played by Belle Powley, really wants to get into. She wants to be an investigative journalist. She knows it's a tough life. She knows it's a very difficult life, but this has been her dream. Mia tries to get into the class and then tries to impress Diane with a story that she is working on that involves her kind of pushing her own ethical boundaries and maybe using some people in ways that she never thought she would. So does she get the story? Does she make it? Well, you have to watch the movie to find out, or I guess wait till the end of this review. So, all that being said, things I liked about this movie. The first, I love the cast. Look, it is a really good cast. Belle Powley does a really, really good job as Mia. She has to kind of portray a bunch of very difficult, very kind of conflicting emotions throughout. The story really focuses on her and her conflict and what she is going to do to get ahead, and she does an amazing job at this. You also have Tracee Ellis Ross, who I really loved as Diane, a very kind of like cold, calculating, mean person. That is not what I'm used to with Tracee Ellis Ross. I loved her in The High Note. That's actually one of my favorite movies probably of all time. It was definitely one of my favorite movies of the year it came out. I think it was 2020. But anyways, very different character, but just a phenomenal, phenomenal performance from her. Just a cold, calculating person. And then Jacob Tremblay, who I last saw him in Good Boys. He is very different in this movie versus Good Boys. He does a nice job as well as Igor. He is one of the main subjects of the investigation, and he also has to play like a very interesting, complicated character. So they all do a really good job, and the film really focuses on these characters. The next thing I love the cinematography. It has like a dark, gritty look to it. It is a fairly simple film. Like, and that's not putting anything aside. Like, it takes place a lot in the university, it takes place a lot in the surrounding area, but it has a really kind of nice look and feel that really amplifies the thriller aspects. It takes place seemingly kind of in winter, which makes sense for the release time. It has a lot of like dark or just kind of like gray shots to let you really focus on the characters and also the kind of underlying tension that is happening. And then it'll occasionally have like really bright scenes where either emotional things are happening or pivotal moments are happening, and those are really nice contrasts. So overall, I think this is a very, very well shot film. Hats off to Roxine Helberg. And the last thing I love the turn. I thought it had a really nice build up and then a nice aha moment. It's a nice surprise and a really good kind of thriller ending. So all that being said, things I didn't love as much about the movie, it's not really that much. I guess one of the characters has a pretty big transformation that is kind of painful to see. Like, it's kind of important for the movie. It is pivotal for the movie, but it is tough to see at times. It kind of conflicts with what I thought this character was about, but maybe that's just me projecting on that character. But it is important to the film, so it's kind of a minor point. Oh, and the last thing I didn't love as much, the start is a little bit clunky to get all the characters together. It is not the most kind of seamless start. Some of the situations seem very manufactured, but you kind of need them to get all these characters introduced and get them interacting. So I understand why they did it. It just wasn't the best overall start. But don't worry, stick through it because the film gets very, very good. So Cold Copy comes to theaters and digital on January 26, 2024. So definitely check it out if you've got the time. You know, it's cold outside. You want to kind of get indoors for a little bit. This is a good way to do it. So I'm going to go into the ending right now. If you don't want to know what happens in this movie, I would turn it off now because there will be spoilers. So in Cold Copy, like I said, you have Mia really trying to impress Diane. She gets into her class. She kind of backstabs one of her friends to get into this class. And now she really wants to impress Diane. And to do that, she is going to write this story. So through happenstance, Mia meets this kid, Igor, who kind of saves her from this like jerk date, this person that was going to like either hurt her or take advantage of her. He steps in. He is this 15-year-old kid, but he acts a lot kind of wiser and cooler than you would expect from a 15-year-old kid. He steps in to help her. He then like she then walks him home because he's 15 and it's like 3 in the morning. And she sees that he is living in this amazing house and he's a 15-year-old kid. And he seems to have this kind of like air about him. He acts a lot older than you would expect. So she's intrigued. Nothing happens, obviously, because she is in college and he is 15, but she is intrigued with this character. Now, she also needs to write the story for her class, and so she's trying all these angles, trying to come up with this amazing story. And then she finds out that Igor, this boy that she met, is the son of a famous children's book author who died mysteriously a few years ago. It was a very private affair. The family didn't say anything. There were no interviews about it. And so this beloved children's author died, and no one knows anything about it. There was a big news story for about a week, and then nothing. Uh, Mia seems to think that there might be more information there. So she starts befriending Igor, trying to like paint a story about this kid who is dealing with this death, but then also seems to be doing fine. He's a talented artist. He, like I said, is kind of wise beyond his years. She kind of pushes that angle. Now, Diane wants this to go further. She wants to dig in deeper. She wants to, know what happened to the mom and how that is affecting him, because clearly that kind of an event will affect anyone. And this story about like Igor's fine, this like grace in the face of death, that's not going to be the hard-hitting story that will get you famous, get you on the news. She wants her to dig more. So Mia does. And in doing this, she starts to kind of like, I don't know, backstab some friends to try to get in Diane's good graces. Diane doesn't think much of her at the start. She thinks the story is a fluff piece. She doesn't think Mia is that great, but Mia keeps wanting to prove her wrong. So she pushes Igor into interviews, trying to get a little bit more information. She backstabs one of her friends by revealing her the source, which that felt very weird. That felt very strange. That was very uncharacteristic of Mia, but I guess she was desperate and she wanted what this friend had. Because of that, this friend loses her story and also has to drop the class because she doesn't have a story. She's not going to be able to make her final. And she loses her job that she had gotten at Diane's network. Now, Diane, I think, realizes what Mia did and sees the potential in her, the cold, calculating potential. And so Diane takes Mia under her wing and starts having her work at the news station. Mia pushes more for the story. She eventually breaks into Jacob's house. She has the key. He left his backpack at her place when he came over one day. So she breaks in. Again, very weird. This family's very rich. You'd think they have a security system. Maybe they just don't arm it. But she breaks in, goes around, finds like clothes from the mother in Igor's room, finds the suicide note from the mother in Igor's room. She films all this, gets all this information. Very shady. I guess she really wants a story, but this seems very out of character for her. So she does this. She puts together this piece, and she also starts pushing Igor a little more on some of his emotions. He outwardly projects that he's pretty fine, but she tries to connect with him and dig into his emotions. She also lost her mother at a young age in a suicide, so she tries to bring that out of him, and she does in some moments. Him being upset, him having rage, him kind of like being angry at the situation. So she gets all of this, puts together the story. It's a pretty decent story. It still feels kind of like a fluff piece, but the story does reveal that this author committed suicide and has parts of the suicide note in it. So pretty, big story overall. Now she gives this to Diane. Diane likes it. She wants to run with it. She wants to put it on her show. Mia is thrilled. She is amazed at this. And so she gets excited. The story airs. And unfortunately for Mia, Diane kind of pushes it as her own story, her own investigative piece. She revoice overs the story and basically reads Mia's script verbatim, but in her own voice, passes off as her own story. Mia is understandably upset. She goes off on Diane. It's interesting. Like, I understand where Mia's coming from, but she kind of hitched her wagon to Diane. She burned a lot of bridges to get here. You'd think that she should just kind of stay and keep learning from Diane, keep climbing. Diane basically is like, look, you needed my voice to get people to see this story, to get people to like appreciate this story. No one was going to appreciate it if it was you, but with me, I give it like an air of authority. People are going to take notice of it. And, you got the story out there. She's like, no, like you stole my story. Diane wants Mia to keep like climbing with her, Diane wants to mold Mia in her own image, but Mia is, I guess, understandably upset. This is really weird that she's burning this bridge because this is like her only bridge, her only lifeline. It's like in the Titanic, if you were in the lifeboat and you're like, screw this, stab the lifeboat, there really isn't much left for you. But Mia does. She gets really upset. She leaves. She quits. She drops the class. Seems like maybe this was going to be the ending, but that's not how this movie actually ends. Mia eventually starts to kind of re-listen to some of the things Diane says, and then confronts her in a bathhouse where she kind of asks Diane about the story, asks why she stole her story. Diane says some stuff, and Mia is secretly recording this. So she gets back, she cuts together a news story. Diane said a lot about, like, you are the reporter, you make the story, you can kind of bend it to what you want. So Mia takes this to heart. She edits the audio, cuts it around, splices it to make it seem much more sinister, to make it seem like Diane is admitting to stealing the story, admitting to what she did. And then she leaks this to her friend, who she stabbed in the back before, but I guess her friend recognizes a good story. So she leaks the audio to her friend, who then puts it up on her network, the network that she is now working for. And boom, big sensational headline. Diane, news anchor, steals stories, admits to stealing story. This causes a lot of panic in her show. Like she goes to tape her show and no one's there. Everyone's kind of doing damage control. They put someone else on. Seems like maybe Diane is going to have a big hiccup in her career. And as she's leaving, there's news reporters all outside of her exit asking her questions like, how many stories have you stolen? Do you like stealing stories? Like, what else have you not told us? Things like that. She is getting hounded by reporters. And as she's doing this, she kind of seems upset, but then she looks across the street and she sees Mia parked across the street looking at her. And I love this scene because Diane kind of like looks at her and gives her like a knowing like look, like a knowing like nod or smile, like almost like respect. Like, Mia took her teachings to heart. She did what she had to climb up. Now people know that it is Mia's story, that Diane stole it. And I love that Diane could have been angry, could have been upset, but she just kind of looked at her with like a little bit of respect. And that's how this film ends, which I thought was perfect. Because look, Diane was ruthless. She knows what she did to climb up here. She knows what she was telling people to do. It seems like she can not only talk the talk, but she can walk the walk. So that is Cold Copy. It seems like, I don't know, maybe Mia will still work at that news station. Maybe she'll just kind of strike out on her own. You don't really know, but in the end, Mia got the story. She burned a lot of bridges to get it, but she got the story, and now people know it's hers. So that is Cold Copy. It comes to theaters on January 26, 2024. Like I said, I think you should watch it. I really enjoyed it. It was definitely a fun surprise. So definitely check it out if you have time. And if you do, let me know what you think. Let me know what you liked and didn't like. Let me know what I got right and wrong. I'd love to hear your thoughts. And thanks so much for watching. If you liked this review, please like and subscribe to this channel. It helps me out a lot. Make sure all my new content goes straight to you. Thank you.